I took like a few classes specifically for like finance, and I realized I didn't like it. He said something along the lines of, if you want to make a lot of money, go sell something. I think in the interview process, you can prepare yourself for the questions that they might ask, but there are going to be like times where they may ask you something that you're not prepared for. I think my number one tip is
I'm really excited this week to share Nathan's story, who just broke into tech sales in a fully remote role. This is a great story because Nathan actually studied finance in college and realized pretty quickly it wasn't for him, ripped the Band-Aid and made the change to tech sales. And I say that as someone myself who was previously an engineer. I hesitated for a long time before making the change, and I know many of you reaching out to me in the comments through our platform Higher Levels have also expressed concerns around, well, I studied this degree for so long, or I've worked in this career path for 5 years. I'm not sure if making the move to tech sales is right for me. And while I'm not going to blindly proclaim that tech sales is the best path for anyone in the world, picking Nathan's brain through our conversation today will give you great insight as to why he made the change and what ultimately worked for him in final round interviews. Nathan, we're really excited for you. Congrats again, and thanks for sitting down with us and sharing your experience.
Hey, everybody. Really excited to speak with Nathan today, who just broke into tech sales. Nathan, really excited. I know you've got a lot of things we'll dive into, but maybe as a starting point for everyone watching, tell us a little bit about your background and what got you looking at tech sales in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. So I just graduated college with my degree in finance. Starting my actual university career, I thought, I knew I wanted to be in business, and I thought pursuing a degree in like finance was something I wanted to do. Um, and then as I kind of neared the end of my college term, I took like a few classes specifically for like finance, and I realized I didn't like it. It was just like the like numbers and just like making projections and valuations of companies, which is kind of cool, but I kind of wanted something that was more involved, like more like really deep in business. So on top of that, I actually didn't really have any internship experience either. So, I really wasn't set up for a proper career path like upon graduation. So I needed to figure out, what I wanted to do, because that's important. So I think it was like back in December, I was like looking around, just kind of seeing what was out there, what I could do. And I was watching a YouTube video. I forget what the video was, but it was like a big entrepreneur guy. And he said something along the lines of, if you want to make a lot of money, go sell something. And if you don't know what to sell, just sell something for somebody else. So I was like, oh, okay, sales. That's I didn't never consider that as an option. So I looked more into that, like what industries were out there. There's like car sales, selling solar. And then just like looking through YouTube, I accidentally stumbled upon tech sales, selling software. And, that really interested me, like just selling technology. So I kind of like looked at what other videos were out there just to kind of get a better sense of what this industry was. And I came across the Higher Levels YouTube channel, Eric's videos, and he explained like typical SDRs, like what do they do, what the typical career path is within the tech space. And I was like, this is pretty cool. This is something I wanted to do. So from there, I just committed myself to breaking in and then establishing this as my career path. So watch more of the Higher Levels content on YouTube. Then I found the course on the channel, opted in for that, learn a bunch of things I never even considered. Then, I started applying the jobs, and then from there got an interview, and kind of a long story short, now I got a job lined up at Seamless. So it's pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, obviously, congrats, and we're excited for you. And maybe double tapping on something that you said there too. Like, you are a recent college graduate. I'm sure you had things at your disposal, whether it's career fairs, whether it's the network of going to a big school in Indiana, et cetera, et cetera. Still, with all of that available, what kind of went into that decision and thought process around still investing in training?
Still investing in training specifically. I guess for the tech sales space and trying to break in as an SDR, like I wanted to invest in training just because I wanted to break in like as fast as possible. the career fairs, they didn't really have anything like sales related or within like the tech sales space, at least not that I've seen. So, and I just wanted to figure out how I can break it as fast as possible. So I could have gone at it like on my own and kind of pieced it together along the way, and just like picking up like nuggets here and there. But I thought that would take like way too much time, and I just wanted to get a job and get myself like established. So that's kind of what led me to taking the tech sales ascension and higher levels, just learning everything I need to know, when I need to know it, and then just start applying it, and then just start getting interviews and get a job. So that pretty much sums it up.
Nice. Yeah, and you crushed it. So credit to you. Were you looking at like different courses, or like what was kind of leading that? Obviously, you mentioned that you found us on YouTube. You started learning more about tech sales. So I would assume that there's a level of trust there that was established. But what were you looking for anything specific as part of like when you said, okay, I want to break into tech sales, I'm going to invest in training? Were you like, okay, this is what I need? Or like, were you looking for something specific, or was it just like, yeah, I trust these guys?
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that. So before, while also kind of watching the content in Eric's videos and absorbing it, there were other like YouTube channels out there with talking about the same stuff, and a lot of those channels talked about course careers, which is like a big course that's used by a lot of people. And I kind of checked it out, and it just seems like it looked good, but I wasn't really sure if I was feeling it. So I watched more of Eric's content, and really, I just liked how Eric was very straightforward, authentic, and just straight to the point. There was no BS. He just said it as it was, and that just won my trust over. I was like, okay, this is what I need. I need this. So, and then I learned about the Tech Sales Ascension, the higher levels course, and I wasn't necessarily sure if I wanted to dive in the beginning. I was still trying to figuring things out just a little bit, and I watched one of like the free introductory videos that the course has to kind of give you more of a idea of what tech sales is, the potential career path. And after watching that, I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. This is the course I need. So I just signed up. So
Nice, man. Well, we're happy that you did. So I guess now that you're on the other side of everything, like having gone through the course, maybe speaking a little bit like to the value, and like, if there are specific segments of the course where you felt like, hey, this was really, really helpful, or maybe there were like, was there a specific segment of the course that you felt like was more valuable than other aspects perhaps, or anything that you felt like, okay, this makes sense, I started applying it, started getting traction? Yeah, anything there?
yeah, so I think what really helped me out to start with was definitely the resume optimization part of the course. When I was in college, I created like a basic framework of my resume, just very basic, and I kind of used that. But after getting into this part of the course, I just revamped my entire resume. So I think that part was helpful. Another thing that I really liked about the course was definitely the interview prep portion of it. There was you guys got into detail the kinds of questions that would be asked, like from these recruiters or hiring managers. So I was able to prepare myself for that, and I thought that was very valuable. And I say the last thing that I think was really invaluable, probably the best part, was the live calls that you guys host. Whether it's like with you guys or Ryan Crandall, big shout out to him. Love that guy. He really helped me out. He helped me start my resume all the way to getting that done, and from there, just helping me navigate through this entire process and helping me out with preparing for this final round interview. So big shout out to him. Very, very crucial. And I don't think I could have done it without him or without you guys in this course. So I think those are like the really important aspects I found.
No, we appreciate it, man. And yeah, obviously, kudos to you. Ryan's a great guy. And obviously for you to take advantage of all of that, you're really going out of your way to set yourself up well. Maybe for someone on the outside looking into kind of getting into the actual interview process itself, as much or as little as you want to share here, but in terms of things you felt like you did throughout the interview process, I know that final round was pretty intense. But along the way, are there things you learned, or maybe one or two takeaways that you would give to someone on the outside looking in that you feel like you learned and really set you apart at those final stages?
Yeah, for sure. So I think if you're going into an interview, you need to make sure to just always prepare. Whether that's like doing research on like the company and their products, who they sell to, if you can figure that out, or like the use case, just having a general understanding of that, I feel like is really going to set you apart because it just shows that you care and you've done research for this role. So they'll take you more seriously. And on top of that, just to kind of just prepare beforehand in terms of like figuring out what kind of questions they might ask you and just kind of figuring out how you want to answer those and just practicing those so that when you actually get into the interview, you're more prepared and you're going to set yourself apart. And I think the final takeaway that I have is just to be patient and just to keep going, persevere. I think there are people out there who are like me and they're able just to maybe get it on the first go. And there are others out there who, take like a couple months, 3 months just to get a job. So I think if you're just patient, you're persistent, and you just keep learning and figuring out how to get better, it's only a matter of time before you get a job. So I think those are my big takeaways.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And on the note of timeline too, I guess from when you joined higher levels to when you ultimately broke in, what was the overall time frame?
Oh yeah, that wasn't really long at all. So I think I joined back in May. So I probably took maybe like 6-7 weeks or so. So it was relatively quick. Not too long at all now.
Nice. Is there a specific part of like, and obviously you did it very fast, so that's awesome. Is there a specific part that was like challenging to you or anything? Because obviously, like you're coming in fresh, you're fresh out of college. I imagine like there's a lot of new concepts here. I'm even getting used to like the corporate process of going through like formal interviews and playing the corporate game, all those different things. Like, were there specific elements that maybe you had to like adapt to, or where you were like, oh, this is interesting, I didn't know this was how it was being done?
Yeah, so I think in the interview process, you can prepare yourself for the questions that they might ask, but there are going to be like times where they may ask you something that you're not prepared for. So just kind of like thinking on the fly or just having like an idea of what to say and just kind of iterating on that. I think that's really important. Just thinking on the fly. Yeah, I think that's what I have to say.
Nice. Cool, man. Well, I think there's a lot of good stuff here. And I think also, to your credit, you jumped in, you took advantage of everything. And I think that's like the common thread of success that we see, is when people actually join, take it seriously, don't wait, for a very long time to get out there, start interviewing, applying the principles. So I love to see that. I guess maybe to close it off here, like, if you could sort of go back in time or give other folks maybe who are in a similar situation as yourself, like who are getting fresh out of college or considering a career change into tech sales, any advice that you would give to your younger self or to anybody who's maybe considering tech sales ascension?
Yeah, for sure. So I think my number one tip is definitely take the course. You're going to get so much value out of it. I'm very grateful that I did. I learned a bunch of things that I would never have considered to be essential. So whether it's like interviewing or optimizing the resume, just those things, the course goes into detail of, and I think I greatly benefited from it. So that's probably my number one takeaway. And I'd say another thing for somebody who's like trying to break in is, again, just, go for it. Keep applying, keep iterating, and just be patient and be persistent, because you keep doing that, you keep tackling it, it's only a matter of time before you do get the job. So I promise you it'll work out for you.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Nathan, appreciate the time, man. A lot of good stuff here. We're going to drop Nathan's LinkedIn in the description. So Nathan, if you're not too busy getting ramped up at Seamless, definitely hit him up. Obviously, like, great guy, good vibes, good energy is definitely what I took away from this conversation. So yeah, if there's anybody else that want to like pick your brain on, how this is or what the process was like, especially coming from fresh out of college, I think that there's a lot of good nuggets. But Nathan, appreciate the time, and I'm excited to see you crush it at Seamless. Eric, I don't know if you have any famous last words.
No, likewise, man. Really, really excited for you. And yeah, credit to you for making it happen so quickly.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for having me. It's been awesome. So